Welcome to Facts TV News, where everything is true. School train service begins. The school train service was officially implemented on Monday. Some 400 students who are on the PATH program will be transported to school daily. The train will take the students from Old Harbour and Linstead to Spanish Town. The students will then be picked up by the JUTC buses, which will take them to the various schools in Spanish Town. In the afternoon, the reverse will take effect. The Transport Minister says the system is cashless. Students will be given a card with their number, name and picture. This will allow them to access the train and the JUTC bus. PNP calls on government to declare Zozo across the crime-plagued corporate-era police divisions. The opposition People's National Party PNP is calling on the government to declare a zone of special operations Zozo across the police divisions of Kingston West, Kingston Central, Kingston East and Southern St. Andrew. The PNP has long supported the government's use of Zozos, which use a clear, hold and build strategy. Opposition spokesman on security Senator Peter Bunting says those police divisions represent less than 1% of the country's land area, but generate a third of all the murders and shootings.
These areas are ripe to be declared zones of special operations. The Zozo Act was supported by both government and opposition. It is bipartisan and it is designed for a medium-term intervention in these strife-torn communities. We encourage the government to utilize this specific legislation, which is not breaching the constitutional rights of Jamaicans as a state of emergency does, and to use it to make permanent change in these violence-torn communities. So we've started the new year with safety and security concerns still top of mind for most Jamaicans. Last year, 2021, saw an increase of almost 10% in the number of murders, ending the year at 1,463, 132 more murders than in the previous year. We also saw very disappointing figures in terms of road traffic fatalities, 482 fatalities in almost as many traffic accidents. But what do we need to do looking forward into 2022 so that we don't have another disappointing year? To begin with, we need to follow the data. Look at the parishes and the police divisions where the highest rate of murder took place. If you look at the accompanying charts, what you will see is that St. James, Westmoreland, and Kingston and St. Andrew are going at about 88 murders per 100,000. That is considerably higher than the average for Jamaica. So we need to focus national security forces in the areas where the problem is most intense. The second thing that we need to do is to balance crime control with crime prevention measures.
COVID-19 cases among children on the rise. It has been reported that the number of COVID-19 cases at Bustamante Hospital for Children continues to increase. There were 32 COVID-19 related patients at the hospital on Sunday, of whom 14 had tested positive for the virus, while 16 children were in isolation and another 2 were suspected cases. Last week, the Chief Medical Officer said Jamaica was now seeing the highest number of children in hospital since the start of the pandemic. Meanwhile, Dr. Melody Ennis, Director of Family Health Services in the Ministry of Health and Wellness, has disclosed that discussions are underway for the provision of COVID-19 vaccines to children aged 5 to 11. The U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention last November cleared Pfizer's vaccine for children in the 5 to 11 age group. COVID-19 cases could exceed 11,000 in peak week of fourth wave, says CMO. Chief Medical Officer Dr. Jacqueline Besosa McKenzie says the number of COVID-19 cases could exceed 11,000 in the peak week of the fourth wave, expected 3 weeks from now. Dr. Besosa McKenzie was addressing the Health Ministry's Week COVID Conversations media. She says nearly all the thousands of people who've died from the virus were unvaccinated.
With the Health and Wellness Ministry recording the highest daily tally of COVID-19 cases yesterday, 1,128, concerns are heightened. The CMO told the Health and Wellness Ministry media briefing last evening that COVID-19 cases are expected to spike even higher within the next few weeks.
With the Omicron virus, it is proving to be a more transmissible virus, and so the numbers are rapidly increasing in several countries. And we have started to see that here. And based on the projections using the reproductive number, it could mean that we may take another 3 weeks or so to get to the peak of our this fourth wave. And in that peak week, we could have as much as 11,500 cases being confirmed based on the present numbers where we are and the reproductive rate. Rapid exposure is happening to a lot of persons, and the numbers are going up quickly.
She says that could also be accompanied by an increase in the number of COVID-19 deaths. And Dr. Bisesa McKenzie says the rate of hospital bed occupancy could also increase to 3,500, way above the 1,200 noted during the third wave of infections. The CMO says the productivity rate has increased to 2.4%.
And here we can see the bed occupancy levels going up again. So over the last week, we would have seen that we would have gone up to 300 to 400 beds being occupied. And the reproductive rate is going up, and we see a big jump in the reproductive rate. Remember that we were below 1 for quite a number of weeks. We are now at a reproductive rate at 2.4. And what it means is that if the reproductive rate continues along this line, then we are going to see a very rapid increase in the number of cases.
She says the rate of children being hospitalized with the virus is also on the rise. According to the CMO, the daily hospitalization has jumped, starting at 250 at the beginning of the last 7-day period and ending at 442. And the rate of daily admissions started at 55 at the beginning of the 7-day period, ending at 66. The CMO, in imploring people to get inoculated, shared that 98% of those who died from the virus were unvaccinated.
So in terms of vaccination, and the best protection against COVID is still vaccination. And we can see that in the number of deaths that we've had between the 1st of March up until 2021 up until now, the 5th of January 2022, we've had 1,953 deaths. And of that, 98.5% of persons have been unvaccinated, meaning have not received either the partial course or the full course of the vaccine course.
Steve.
Please remember to subscribe, like, share, and click the notification bell for daily updates.